Now, Hummers typically come with the idea of being a midlife crisis car, which I've always found funny, but this one in particular seems like it's having a midlife crisis of its own because it breaks the mold on everything Hummer normally does. This is not a gas guzzling vehicle. This is actually fully electric, and it might be one of the most interesting cars on the market today. We're gonna take a look at it. My name is Jason, and you're watching Gunnex. Now we're going to talk about some of the design aspects of the Hummer EV, and first and foremost, I don't think this actually screams electric vehicle like some of the other electric vehicles down the line. I think this one looks pretty good on its own. It's a little bit big though. That's my only real gripe. I mean, this thing is absolutely massive. If we talk about how massive it is, we can just go into the weight of this vehicle, because this thing weighs 9,000 pounds, which these tow hooks here are kind of funny to me because you're going to need some crazy vehicle to even have a chance of towing this, because oh my goodness gracious, she's kind of a biggie. But if we move on to some of the things I do like about this car, because it's one of the first things I've seen ever in an electric car, the front here is automatically opening, and I've reviewed some of the German cars and things along those lines, and they don't have this. You have to open your trunk manually, and I really do like that this one is electronically opening. I mean, this is definitely one of the first ones I've ever seen, and if it's an American thing, that makes more sense, because you know what? We don't buy cars to open up our frunks. We buy cars to press a button and have them open up for us. But lowering that, you're gonna see the design aspects kind of carry on through and throughout. I absolutely love the light bar here with the Hummer EV, as well as the headlight design. One funny thing though is I think Hummers, I've seen a lot of them with it, it's the 3 windshield wipers. I don't know why, that just gets me every time I see it. But overall, I mean, in the front and throughout this car, it does look really good, but it is big, and that's gonna be the biggest problem for a lot of people. Now, before we go on to the rest of the car, I do wanna point out there are some features in this that we're gonna touch on a little bit later, but I feel like I need to mention right now. First and foremost, this is air suspension that lets you control how high or low your vehicle is, depending for your off-road capabilities, as well as you do have the seal bumper plate on the bottom. This is a very off-road capable vehicle, and one thing that Hummer does very uniquely that we're going to touch on at the very end of this video is a thing called crab walking, where your vehicle walks in or drives in this weird formation to get over whatnot and everything like that. We're going to touch on that on the end, but I did want to point out those features before we went to the rest of the car, just because I feel like it's important. Now, not to harp on the size of this vehicle, but I do need to showcase a few things. First and foremost, these massive all-terrain tires, which you're going to get 4 throughout the car and 1 on the back, which are absolutely insane. They're going to get you through almost every single thing you need to do. I mean, this is such an off-road capable vehicle, if we're being completely honest, as well as you have your side step here, letting you get in and out of the vehicle quite easily, especially if you're a little guy. I mean, me personally, I can just step in the car, but hey, if you're a little guy, hey, you're just a little guy. Now, moving on back here, this is where you have the charging port, which is going to be only on the right side of the vehicle. It has both fast charging and normal charging, which is a nice addition and a good thing. But if we move on to the very back of the car, this is also going to be automatically opening. The button is kind of hidden here on the bottom left, but it opens sideways automatically, which is kind of a nice thing, giving you a lot of storage space through in and throughout, just overall being a nice, spacious, and large off-road vehicle, which I personally think is really, really nice. Now, if we move on to the inside, we're gonna see if it can match the luxury of these higher end off-road SUVs, or if it falls a little bit short. Now, on the inside of the Hummer, there are a few things that I absolutely like and a few things I absolutely hate. First and foremost, I don't like these air vents. I know that they kind of resemble the taillights and everything along those lines, but I just don't think I get any airflow in here, which is definitely annoying because it is hot out today and you can definitely feel that the air does not go through the car. So if you're doing something like crazy off-roading in the desert or something like that, you know, I might be a little hesitant that you're not going to get a lot of airflow. Now, on top of that, you do have the roof panels which remove, which I think are really cool under that fact. They also have this weird kind of like black glass look to them. I don't know if they're necessarily my favorite look of all time, but I think they're really cool nonetheless. Now, moving on to the infotainment screen, you have two. You have your digital gauge cluster and you have your big infotainment. They're both these nice high quality screens with these, I guess, copper-esque accents throughout the side to give it a more rugged look. I don't think it's necessarily the nicest looking thing in the world. I think it's trying to be that middle ground between something along the lines like a G-Wagon or something above or below the G-Wagon, but above something like the Bronco and the Jeep. It is definitely its own little gimmick of a vehicle. But one thing that I do want to point out that I do absolutely like is how tactile a lot of the buttons are in here. Everything just feels good. I mean, just moving them through and throughout, it just feels nice. It's very cohesive. Now, besides that, on the inside of here, there are some nice design aspects. I love the two-tone coloring through and throughout. I absolutely love the design on the speakers and just things along those lines. It's a very stylized car, and I feel like you feel good inside of here. I mean, there's so much room through and throughout. We talked about it being big and bulky, but that's a good thing because you are a comfortable passenger on the inside through and throughout. But overall, I do really like the inside of here, but that's not what we're here for. We're here to drive this bad boy, so let's hop right into that. Now, the first thing we're going to do for the driving is we're going to talk about probably the coolest feature in the Hummer overall, and that's going to be the crab walk feature. What you're going to do here is hold this button on the dial. It's going to do this amazing sound and animation where your car starts to do a crab walk, activates the camera system, and lets you see. So basically, you're going to turn all the way left or right or whatever direction you want to set up your wheels how you want it to go. Then when you swing right, it's going to lock your car into place, and you're going to be able to drive with your car at an angle. You're basically walking like a crab, which is absolutely insane. If you hold far enough on the wheel, though, it will, at that point, let you do a normal turn, so you're not just going to lose out on living. If it's a dangerous situation, you have to swing left or right. But it's absolutely one of my favorite features in this car. It's definitely one of the most unique features I've seen. And I think it's just a really funny thing if you look at it from the outside of the car, because the front end definitely goes a little bit further than the left or than the back end, and it is just funny. But moving on from that, this has rear wheel steering, which is definitely something that you're going to feel in a big car like this, because it turns quite nicely. I'm a little bit shocked for how big and massive that this thing is. And we've talked about this throughout the entire video. It does have a pretty solid turning radius. Yes, it can be a little bit tight around some corners because you're moving this 9,000-pound vehicle, but at the end of the day, it's still pretty good overall. Now, the actual driving experience, because you have that instant access to all the torque, and you have dual motors because this isn't the three motor one, or you have two batteries, not three. And this one, you're going to have a lot of power to work with. Now, if you were to drive normally and not put your foot to the absolute pedal to the metal, you're going to realize that this thing drives like a pretty standard car, but that full electric vehicle instant access to torque kind of comes out as soon as you just floor it. I think there's a difference in the driving styles, because when you go normally like this, it's absolutely just, it's nice, it's smooth, it feels like any other car. But if you push down, you get so much access to the torque. I mean, this vehicle is kind of quick when it comes to it. Yes, you're not going to have the most speed or anything along the lines there, but it feels quick, it's responsive, and I think that's the big takeaway from it. But man, I mean, the Hummer definitely does have a lot of surprises that I don't think you'd expect from a fully EV vehicle. I feel like this definitely is one of the closest EVs to gas experiences I've ever had, and I really do like it. Now, if you guys want to see more from us, make sure to like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.